Wall Street ends up on Monday amidst trouble with AMC and also GameStop. That message board Reddit for where a place called Wall Street Bets was betting on trading up GameStop didn't continue the rally on Monday as GameStop closed down sharply during regular hours. On an after-hours trading before the market opens today, it was also down as well. Meantime, overnight, other stocks pushed by this message board fell dramatically like AMC. And Jim Cramer said to sell BlackBerry, another one they had proposed as well. Meantime, what's going on with stimulus? As the Republicans introduce a proposal, and it's not so much the issue of what the Republicans propose, but what the Democrats have ignored from the progressives. A new report signals that Chuck Schumer may need to go more progressive and endorse the Progressive Party policies like multiple stimulus checks, like SSI and SSDI and Social Security and Railroad benefits, if he wants to keep his Senate seat in the next few years. Moreover, what's happening with that financial bubble? And could a big bubble burst on Wall Street and impact your stimulus? I have all the financial news from Wall Street to Main Street, from your home to mine, on Early Mornings, LALATE. Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Early Mornings, LALATE. How are you? The toast is toasted, the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here. And boy, what a run it was yesterday on Wall Street. I have all the details on what happened on Wall Street yesterday. Meantime, I'll be going over the controversy still surrounding Reddit and that message board, Wall Street Bets. And then I'll be coming back to the financial bubble that could impact your stimulus. Is a bubble about to burst on Wall Street? AOC versus Schumer. New calls for progressive policies to be endorsed by members of the Congressional Party as they continue to go smaller on stimulus when they need to go bigger. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe. This is the best and most comprehensive financial news channel online, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and the most interactive as well. There's a live chat over there. As an instant chat, you can chat with your Purple Power buddies, comment, say what you think about what's going on with Nancy and that bill, and what do you think about that reconciliation? Interact, and you never know whose opinions you might share. And if you've not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. And also like this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a Purple Power member. Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. In this recording, I have so much to detail, so let's get right to the breaking news. The breaking news is Wall Street. Overnight, Wall Street ended up substantially on Monday, but the controversy continued thereafter. What happened? Well, Wall Street ended up with a nice Monday rally. The Dow was up 229, up 1%. NASDAQ went up 322 on Monday, up about 2.55%. It was the best day since October for Wall Street. But it wasn't particularly the best day for a message board. Why a message board? Well, a message board on a website called Reddit and a message board called Wall Street Bets had been rallying up a series of stocks like AMC and GameStop since last week. Those rallies were curbed as the platform that people would buy often on, an app that's on your phone called Robinhood, that allows you to buy and sell at cheap discounts to anything that a commercial broker would normally charge, halted the ability to trade the stocks as freely as you would like. Well, as some of those halts were lifted progressively over Monday, the hits came in. AMC, which had jumped substantially 277% on last week, closed flat on Monday. But the situation was not the same for GameStop. GameStop was down substantially during regular hours and traded even further down after hours. It was trading down nearly 16% as additionally in overnight's trading before Wall Street opens today. Meantime, what does this mean for your stimulus? Well, the issue is whether there's a financial bubble on Wall Street about to implode. And that bubble is a lot of uncertainty, a lot of speculation, and ultimately a crashing market would add to a downed economy, rising unemployment, lack of re-employment of low-income people, rising poverty levels, and the spread of a new variant to the vaccine to the virus. All issues which Joe Biden did not take in consideration when deciding what to do with stimulus. But then there's a new twist. The new twist is a push between AOC, progressives, and Chuck Schumer. A new report says that progressives may be eyeing a run for Chuck Schumer's seat if he does not endorse more progressive policies, especially when it comes to stimulus. What are we talking about here? Well, when we talk about multiple stimulus checks, that's a progressive policy. When we talk about SSI and SSDI and Social Security and railroad benefits of 200% add-on every month, and a new benchmark and 20% increase, that's a progressive policy. When we talk about FPUC retro and FPUC going forward at $600 a week, that's particularly not a centralist or a moderate Republican Democratic position. So what they're saying now is that Chuck Schumer better get on board very quickly and become a little bit more progressive. Otherwise, his seat could be in jeopardy. Yes, we're talking about Democrats versus Democrats. We're not talking about Republicans versus Democrats. Last week, AOC's group wrote Chuck Schumer a letter, also wrote to Harris and also wrote to Biden, saying, one, you need multiple stimulus checks. Saying, two, a single stimulus check of $1,400 doesn't cut it. And three, I'd like a response. What was their response? Nada. Nothing. They got no response. And they got no response from Harris, who actually is a progressive, who wrote a bill just like this in July of 2020 to get herself on the presidential campaign trail, and now has gone completely silent. The silence of Harris has been very well noted by viewers of this channel. Silent about her own bill, silent about Bernie Sanders, silent now about progressives, and silent about anything that involves any of her positions which she had pushed during the 2020 season. She did that. She did one for rent aid that said big rent aid, where there's going to be a public agency to enforce that rent is paid correctly and prosecute landlords if they didn't follow it. And she had a lot of other really good bills. And now she's silent upon them. Now, on Sunday, the Republicans said, we have a counterproposal. On Monday, they detailed more of a counterproposal. Joe Biden wants to give you $1,400 stimulus check, $2,800 a married couple, $3,200 adult dependents, $1,400 for children. Republicans? Nada. They want to give you $1,000 if you laid less than $40,000 in 2020 or 2019. Otherwise, they don't give you anything. $500 for children, nothing for anyone else. It's just very, very small numbers. What was Joe Biden's reaction to that? I'd love to see it. What do you mean you'd love to see it? This is getting a little bit peculiar among Democrats, saying, what's going on? And it's not just one group of progressives. Let me give you each of them at a time. First, when it comes to multiple stimulus checks, Shakant Shabarazi, AOC's former chief of staff, says, either Chuck Schumer starts doing some more progressive policy, or he's going to see a big trouble in the Democratic primary runoff for Senate re-election. It's dependent on what Chuck does, says Walid Shalit, communications director of Justice Democrats, which is a progressive wing. Schumer will have to explain to every one of his decisions of one of the most progressive primary electorates in the country, referring to that section of New York. And then Shakat says, it's exciting to see how much action Schumer is currently taking, meaning how much heat he's taking. And I hope progressives continue to pressure him, threatening a potential primary runoff. There you go. So why would Chuck risk that? Why did Joe Biden go so low? This is where viewers are certainly perplexed, and I'm perplexed as well, as we sit here on a Tuesday, and we're trying to figure out what's going on with the stimulus bill. You and I certainly understand what Republicans are doing. They do what they always do. They go lower and lower as low as they can go. Mitch McConnell, no stimulus check, $300 a week. I have no economic data. That was 2020. 2021 for Republicans, Susan Murkowski, Lisa Collins, and Susan Murkowski, Mitt Romney, and Ron Portman. Here's some money for some PPP people. Otherwise, the rest of you don't need money. But those PPP people, they need a lot more money. Even though there's $800 billion sitting around from CARES Act 1, and even though there's still around a PPP now, we're going to give some more PPP, but that's about all we're going to do. Well, we know Republicans are going to say that because they've said it before. But what is Joe doing? That's what viewer said, asking his wife in the comments last night. I don't know. You don't know. And it seems as though other Democrats don't know what he's doing either. Chuck Schumer had said to us that the third stimulus package was going to have a $1,400 stimulus check in there and a $2,000 stimulus check in there. AOC said, hey, you know what? Let me do a Cash Act bill quickly, President Trump, for a $1,400 fix-it check. But I'm not saying that's all you're going to get in 2021. Can you imagine how AOC must now feel that she was trying to give you another $1,400 in December, but now Joe Biden is taking the Cash Act bill from 2020 and making it sound as though, well, not making it sound, making it as your only stimulus check in 2021? That's not what AOC intended to have her words taken as. Take her 2020 check and turn it into a 2021 check. And in fact, it was a fix-it check for something else. It wasn't supposed to be its own check. That's what moderate Democrats with Joe Biden have now done. And progressives are saying, oh, you really want to do that? I don't think that's a good move. And viewers have asked me to explain why Joe Biden hasn't stayed true to his promise about SSI and SSDI. Well, I'm not alone. On Sunday, Elizabeth Warren came out and fired back about that issue as well. And Elizabeth Warren, she's a progressive as well. What was her message? What's going on here? That was basically her message, just shouting for about 10 minutes on camera. Now, understand, Elizabeth Warren is the one who wrote the language that I talk about so much on this channel about SSI and SSDI. It's her language. I still have it offset. She wrote 3 pages about it. Those 3 pages were brought into the Biden campaign. They were then brought into the transition pages. He actually cites her. He mentions her and someone else who she wrote her items with. He cites them, talks about them, says these are great, this is what I'm going to do. And then he gets in office, he doesn't do it. So is he not keeping his promises to Elizabeth Warren? Is he not keeping his promises to Chuck Schumer? Is he not keeping his promises to AOC? Suddenly we see a lot of people from certain parts of the Progressive Party, whether it's stimulus checks or SSI and SSDI, that who were promised things besides even you, and their promises are not being, the promises to those elected officials not being kept. You see a lot of strange things that are going on in these first 3 weeks of the Biden camp. And ultimately, these things aren't helping anyone, because what Joe did was he went small in the hope to bring Republicans into the mix and get that stimulus package out. And by going small, he didn't have much room to move. And so now, as we start at Tuesday morning, what do you have? You have one stimulus check that's very small, $1,400 and $3,200 for adult dependents was supposed to be, that plus $2,000, and more stimulus checks over time. You have FPUC at $400 a week. It was supposed to be $600 a week, and it was supposed to be retro. You have no idea how much his hazard pay, is that cheap as well? You have no idea what his business grant, is that cheap as well? You have no idea what his business loan, is that cheap as well? And here we have viewers sort of clamoring to hear about tax credits, but those aren't big items. That was a real dog and pony show by Biden about tax credits. Here's the tax credits. I had to bring viewers back into the mix and give a reality check or a fact check, because Joe Biden made it sound as though there were new tax credits. No, those tax credits already exist. He's just modifying them. So what's going to happen? We shall see. We shall see. I'm back in just a few minutes with a continuation of Early Morning to LA, the 6:30 edition. In that video, I will be going over the Republican plan, the Republican proposal, the counter proposal, the stimulus check amount, and why there's no hazard pay. I'll be touching on Romney and hazard pay, why Romney advocated hazard pay vehemently in 2020, and now, like Harris with her stimulus checks, Romney silent with his hazard pay. I'll be covering over to Obamacare. Great news about that happening minutes ago. And I'll be cutting to food stamps. Meantime, concerns about the virus spreading across the country. And what you can see as Wall Street opens this new morning. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. Best darn channel there is out there. Make sure you hit that like button. Get those likes up, folks. And also consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcito VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay alive for more.